You are listening to the UPSC Radio Lab. In the last week of November, a coalition of BJP and a few NCP leaders formed the government in the state of Maharashtra. Until then, it was the President's rule in the state of Maharashtra, following the Governor's report on failure in formation of a state government by any party. The President's rule was revoked on the same day when the government was formed, using a special discretionary power of the Prime Minister under Rule number 12 of Government of India, Transaction of Business, 1961. Today in the UPSC Radio Lab, we see about the Government of India, Transaction of Business Rules 1961 and how it is linked with the Constitution. Article 77 of our Constitution talks about conduct of business of Government of India. In Clause 3 of Article 77, it states, the President shall make rules for more convenient transactions of business of the Government of India and for the allocation among ministers of the said business. It is under this very article, that is Article 77 Clause 3, the provisions of the Government of India Transaction of Business Rules 1961 is made. First, let's get a little clarity over the conduct of business of Government of India. The power to make rules of business under this clause of Article 77 can be traced to Article 53, Clause 1, where Article 53 talks about executive power of the Union. The article states, executive power of the Union shall be vested in President and shall be exercised by him or her, either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the Constitution. And in Article 74, which talks about Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President, it states, there shall be a Council of Ministers with Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall in exercise of his functions act in accordance with such advice. Both these articles, Article 53 and 74, indicate that the decision of Government of India are not always taken personally by the President. It can be either the minister concerned or even the authorized official to take decisions and the rules of business made by President under Article 77 Clause 3. So basically Article 77 talks about two provisions. 1. It empowers the President to frame rules for the smooth functioning of the government business. And 2. It talks of allocation of said business among ministers. Let's also remember, with regard to Article 74, it also states that the President may require the Council of Ministers to reconsider certain advice. And the President shall ask them to reconsider, but once the reconsideration is being done, the President has to act in accordance with the advice of the Council of Ministers again. That is exactly what happens with a bill sent for assent from the President. If the President sends the bill back to the Parliament for reconsideration and they send it back with or without considering his recommendations, the President has no choice but to assent to the bill. Article 74 also secures the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers to the President. Article 74 Clause 2 also says the question on if any advice was given or what kind of advice was given to the President shall not be inquired into any court. Now that we know the basis of the Government of India Transaction of Business Rules 1961, let's get into its details. These rules are mainly concerned with the operation of ministries, 1 for better administration and 2 for redressal of issues. These rules contains 2 schedules. First schedule talks of the standing committees and second schedule talks of cases that require approval of the cabinet. Like for example, ordinance, if there is an opinion difference between 2 ministries, revoking of the President's rule, etc. Totally, there are 12 rules that are enlisted. The 12th rule talks of departure from rules. It says, the Prime Minister may in any case or classes of cases permit or condone a departure from the rules to the extent he deems necessary. I highlight the words "to the extent he deems necessary" because it bestows a discretionary power on the Prime Minister during situation of extreme urgency or unforeseen contingency. To revoke President rule in Maharashtra, the central government of India invoked this very special power of Rule 12 to bypass the requirement of a cabinet meeting to be done before revoking the President's rule. In such situation, the process of examination and interministerial consultation would need to be followed. Invoking Rule number 12 needs certain conditions. All cases under Rule 12 are mandatorily required to be routed through Cabinet Secretary and should in no case be sent directly to the Prime Minister. There are guidelines to be followed. The proposal shall be moved only by administrating ministry or department concerned with the subject. 2. Detailed justification to invoke Rule 12 has to be given. 3. The Secretary of the Department or the Ministry ensures that the facts are right and the Ministry or the Department routes it to the Cabinet Secretary. Ensuring the given facts, the Prime Minister uses his discretionary power of Rule number 12. Where the matter, even if it belongs to the second schedule, that is where the cases require the approval of Cabinet, the meeting is not called for and the Prime Minister directly advises the President. Now, if it's Article 77 for conduct of business of Government of India, it is Article 166 for conduct of business for the Government of States, where the Governor shall make rules for more convenient transactions of business of the Government of State. So let us remember that Article 77 can be traced to Art 53 and 74, and hence the formulation of transaction of business rules. Thank you for tuning in and see you in the next episode. You are listening to the UPSC Radio Lab.